gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a classic to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be. I'll write a classic to beat them all and go down in history. I'll be the one to reach the stars, but only if you're with me tonight, 'cause that'll be the life. 'Cause that'll be the life. 'Cause that'll be the life.
Hello again and welcome to episode 57 of Main Street Martin and our summer 2025 holiday in the Algarve, staying in the coastal resort of Olhao near to Faro. It's a bright and early start for episode 2 as we're taking the train to Faro to explore the city that most people overlook. Now, in previous episodes we've explored Malta and Madeira, we've taken city breaks in Brussels, Porto, Vienna and Salzburg, visited theme parks like Walt Disney World, Disneyland Paris and various other theme parks in the United States and Europe, and we've had other holidays in Mexico, Portugal, Spain and beyond. We've also cruised on various Carnival, Princess and MSC ships, and that's provided cruise series on this channel in places like Curacao, Marseille, Rome, Bruges, Naples and Athens. Well, don't forget you can still check out all of those previous episodes right here on the channel, and if you enjoy any of the videos, please make sure you click on the like button, ring that notification bell to be informed of any future videos, and if you possibly can, make sure you subscribe. This is the second in our series exploring the eastern Algarve. We've flown from East Midlands Airport with Jet 2 and are staying at the Marina Hotel and Spa in Olhao. Now, just under 10 million passengers fly to Faro Airport each and every year. And one thing's for sure, only a fraction of them ever explore the city of Faro itself. So today, that's what we're going to do. So a short 15-minute train journey away from Olhao brings us to the city of Faro. Now it's an interesting one because most people will fly into here, as those people have done, but will never go anywhere near the city itself. They'll just get on their bus from the airport and go to the nearby resorts. So we've come by train today to explore the city of Faro and see what that's got to offer. So this is the Faro Marina. It's right in the heart of the old town. Pretty quiet at the moment, but it does get lively later in the day, and you'll definitely pass it when you're sightseeing, especially if you come by train as we did.
because on your way into the old town you'll walk straight past this marina. Here you'll find the Love Faro sign over here, several interesting sculptures as well, and there are numerous cafes and restaurants in this whole area, as you can see. The Faro City Tour train stops here as well, if you fancy touring the city like that. It's a great area for a leisurely stroll as well. And then just across the road is this beautiful little park.
As soon as we arrived in Faro, we could see that it's well worth a visit, with a laid-back charm and a rich history, offering a taste of authentic Portuguese life and surrounded by stunning natural beauty. We began wandering through its cobbled streets, discovering the ancient city walls and the characterful streets. One thing's for sure, Faro is one of the Algarve's best kept secrets. The city's historic town, with its whitewashed buildings and intricate tiles, is packed with charm. Its cathedral, medieval gates and atmospheric plazas are a delight to explore, while the city also boasts a vibrant food scene where you can enjoy everything from fresh seafood to classic Portuguese pastries.
So this is the train line into Faro from Olhao. Faro in the distance over there, and then behind the boats there you can see a couple of the planes there at the airport. And this is where some of the boat trips go from. And further up the track that way is Olhao. As you'd expect, there are many churches in Faro. This is the first one, right opposite the Marina. Through the archway, walk up that narrow street, uphill, opens up into this beautiful square. Here comes the tour train again. And some beautiful old buildings. This is the Faro Cathedral, impressive building, some live music as well. Hopefully we'll take a look inside in a minute. Now this is interesting because opposite the cathedral is the Faro Story Spot, which is an immersive multimedia experience taking you on a journey through the centuries-old history of this city. It tells the story of the origins of Faro, shows the main points of interest to visit, and has an introduction to the marine life of the Ria Formosa Nature Reserve. The whole experience takes you from one themed room to another, takes about 45 minutes, and is suitable for the whole family. Just over here in this beautiful square.
So we've come inside from the square of Largo da Sé, and this is the Cathedral of Faro, also known as Igreja de Santa Maria. It's one of the oldest and most important buildings in the city and dates back to Roman times when there was a temple here. During the Moorish reign, the church was transformed into a mosque. Now this current building dates from the beginning of the 17th century. It's had many improvements over the centuries, but most of the wall tiles here inside the cathedral are from 1694. Inside you'll also find multiple chapels and the impressive 18th century organ. Up on the first floor you'll also find a small museum of sacred art, and the rooms here date from 1697 and 1813. Now they're well worth a quick look even if you're not interested in the collection.
So this is the high relief of Our Lady of the Assumption. And this already existed in the cathedral back in 1624, can you believe? And this chapel shows relics of St. Francis of Paula, founded by Bishop Antonio Pereira da Silva back in 1704. On the left hand side is the mausoleum, assigned to be his tomb, and the war riches were supposed to receive reliquaries. Absolutely stunning. So the €5 ticket price gives you access to the cathedral, to the museum, also to the Chapel of Bones, which we'll go and visit later on. And you get to go up to the bell tower as well. opposite the cathedral in the same grounds is the Chapel of St Michael. Next to that is the Bones Chapel.
C'est à moitié synthétique.
Là, c'est quand même, quand il est à Olhao, une dame, ça fait 10 ans qu'elle a
Beautiful square below us. The Ria Formosa Nature Park, as you can see, runs all the way past Faro. Over in the distance in that direction is Olhao, where we're staying. Just around the corner is the Marina, and then over in the distance is Faro Airport. You can see the runway, and while you're walking around Faro, expect a plane to go over every 30 seconds or so.
The beauty of the churches here is that they're all very different. This is the Church of St Francis, dating back to 1679, with a beautiful interior. It's a fine example of Portuguese Baroque architecture. Actually, it suffered quite a bit of damage in the earthquake of 1755 that devastated Faro, but much of it survived, and work on the interior continued until the late 1700s with the addition of Rococo and neoclassical details. Now, one of the main reasons you might want to visit here is for the extraordinary tile work covering the walls and the vaulted ceiling of the chancel. These blue and white panels illustrate the life of St Francis and the coronation of the Virgin. There are also 4 paintings with more scenes of the life of St Francis brought from Rome by the Bishop of Algarve in 1792 and painted by Marcello Leopardi, who worked on Roman and other Italian churches.
Less than a 10-minute walk away from the city wall and from the Church of St Francis of Assisi is this, the Jardin de Almeida. You can hear the peacocks everywhere. 7 or 8 minute walk from the garden, and we're back here at the city wall, through another impressive archway and back into the old town. A couple hundred metres from the archway back in the old town brings you to this square and the municipal museum. On our way back to the main square next to the Marina, we came across this whitewashed building, which we later found out was the Bishop's Palace. It was completed in 1585. 11 years later, it was almost destroyed when Robert Devereux, Earl of Essex, and a favourite of Queen Elizabeth I, sacked the city of Faro. Now, before destroying the building, the English troops ransacked the palace's library, which included many precious manuscripts, including Portugal's first ever printed book, a Hebrew Old Testament. Today, these treasures are held in Oxford University's Bodleian Library. But the palace was rebuilt in 1598 and later partly used as a seminary for training priests. In 1755, the building was heavily damaged again, this time by the earthquake, which caused devastation to much of the region. Today, the building is still in use and generally not open to the public, so we were quite lucky. But there are occasional exhibitions of religious art held here, and the interior is well worth a visit to see the excellent 18th century tile work. Travelling back through the main archway out of the old town brings us to the square opposite the Marina, where we began our day, and we found the church and the Museum of Misericordia. The 16th century church partially survived the 1755 earthquake, and the interior decoration is from the late 1700s, but the Portuguese Gothic portico predates that disaster. It's one of the buildings in Faro where storks like to build their nests. We saw a number of those, and the interior houses a small museum of sacred art. At the front of the building, in an arcade to the left of the main entrance, you'll find a large tile panel commemorating Christopher Columbus's stop in Faro in 1493, after first stopping in Lisbon on his return from the New World. The text here in Portuguese and English recalls the explorer's different voyages until his death in 1506. So we've taken a walk across Faro to here in this beautiful square to see the Chapel of Bones, and it sounds quite macabre, but wait till you see it. The Chapel of Bones is at the back of this church, the Carmo Church, in a courtyard, and we'll go through to that in a moment's time. But the Carmo Church has been described as the most beautiful church in Faro, founded in 1713 and completed in 1719 by wealthy King Zhao V, who paid for its magnificent gilded interior with gold that he found in Brazil. Luckily, much of it survived the 1755 earthquake, but the twin-towered facade was altered after the disaster. As you can see, there are side chapels here dating from 1716 and 1786, dedicated to different saints, and you'll also see half a dozen images of Christ from 1731. The gold decoration alone will be worth a visit, but the main attraction is the ghoulish chapel, completely covered in human bones and skulls outside at the back. So this is the Chapel of Bones, added in 1816, and using the skeletons of over 1,000 monks. At the entrance, accessed through the church, is an inscription that translates to literally mean "stop here to contemplate that you'll end up in this state." Now, it sounds a bit creepy, doesn't it? But apparently these types of chapels weren't that unusual in Portugal, and other European countries for that matter. There's even a more famous bones chapel in the city of Evora. When cemeteries were full, skeletons were exhumed and often transferred to churches, especially if they belonged to holy men as these did. One thing that we noticed here was that the courtyard, including a graveyard, was incredibly peaceful. Now nearby is another church, St. Peter's Church. It's a 16th century building. Much of it was rebuilt after the devastating earthquake in 1755, so it has a rather plain facade with just a Mannerist style portico with Ionic columns topped with an image of St. Peter to whom it's dedicated, but inside it presents a rich decoration made of golden carvings and Baroque tile panels. This was originally a small church of local sailors, but it was expanded when it was made into a parish church. It was enriched with one of the earliest examples of Baroque decoration in the Algarve on the main chapel. Two side chapels feature a later Rococo style, and one of them is framed by blue and white tile panels. This church is free to have a look around. It's usually open in the mornings and sometimes in the afternoon, but it is at irregular times. But take a note, there is a mass on weekdays, usually at 6 in the evening, and also on Sunday mornings.
During our 2-week stay in Olhao, we visited Faro twice, and the videos that you've seen are taken from 2 separate trips. On the second trip, we actually went to visit Forum Algarve, the modern shopping centre with over 100 stores, 5 cinemas, 20 restaurants and much more. It's a 20-minute to half an hour walk from the centre of Faro, but it's well worth it. I have to say that on both of our trips to Faro, the public transport was fantastic, inexpensive and efficient. The first time we went and returned by train. The second time we went by train but returned to Olhao on a bus. Both were easy, both were inexpensive, and the bus journey gave us a different perspective on the return home. The bus station, by the way, is right near to the railway station in Faro. That's it for now, I'm afraid. Next time, I hope you'll join us when we go out to sea on an observation boat to try and find dolphins. And we also visit the nearby town of Tavira. In the meantime, take a look at the other videos on the channel featuring Caribbean and Mediterranean cruises, plus our visits to eco parks and theme parks in Mexico, the United States and Europe. We also have some city breaks in the UK and Europe, and some short breaks providing you with top tips, hints and ideas. Remember, if you enjoy any of the videos, you can really help the channel by clicking on the like button, ringing that notification bell and subscribing. And don't forget to join me next time for episode 58 of Main Street Martin, when we go dolphin watching and to the nearby town of Tavira.
I'm gonna go write a million songs if that's the way to be.